of even just how we're created. But why else did Paul need friends? Well, we learn from Romans that he's a justified sinner just like us. Right? He's a Christian, but in need of strength just like us. Remember, we talked about this last week, but all the way back at the beginning in chapter 1, when Paul's talking about part of why he's even writing this letter, in verses 11 and 12, he says how he longs to be with his Roman Christians. He says, so that I may impart some kind of gift to you to strengthen you. And then he says that is that we might be mutually encouraged. And the word that he uses there in chapter 1 for strengthen is the same word in chapter 16 when he launches in the doxology in verse 25 about the gospel strengthening us. Right? And so yes, we're strengthened by the gospel, but God often works that out through our relationships with people. Right? That often Jesus' sufficiency for us is expressed through friends. That he uses friends to strengthen us. So Paul even said about his own experience about his friend Titus, right? In 2 Corinthians 7, he talks about how Titus had been previously comforted by other believers. And then Paul says, when we were at a time when we were crushed and low and downcast, God sent Titus and he comforted us. And so aren't you glad for friends like that? Or even that God made it possible through Christ to have friends like that who are able to lift you when you're down? Right? That's a gift of grace, isn't it? So we need even to be those kinds of, kind of how he breaks this down in verses 1 through 16. Paul is sending greetings to this Roman church, right? He's writing from Corinth, remember, sending greetings to those who are there in Rome. And then verse 21 through 23, he sends greetings. We are actually, I'm going to walk through these lists. But before we kind of get into specific names, I want to give you a few things just to kind of look for as we do. Because there's a number of different ways that Christian friendship is emphasized here. All right, it's emphasized, one, just by the number of individuals that are mentioned. Right? There's at least 30 names here in Romans 16. Right? Paul mentions more names here just in this letter than he does in any of his other epistles combined. Right? Paul's naming people.